in the back of our mind, the moment we decide a time frame, and at the same time, if we also define the backup plan, if something doesn't happen in that time frame, that backup plan tells you that you are not ready for this. So never make a backup plan. Your time frame is the final time frame. If you come back and you say, boss, मैं 100 दिन I will work on this, and after 100 days, if it doesn't happen, I will go back to daddy's shop and I will sit at daddy's shop. So you better go and sit at your daddy's shop right now, because after 100 days, you have anyways kept your mindset, you're going and sitting at your daddy's shop.
Hello, everyone. There are three types of people in the world. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what happened. Today's guest is in the first category, those who make things happen. He's an entrepreneur, speaker, investor, consultant. He is the co-founder and CEO of ProTechmanize Solutions, which is an information security and technology company founded in the year 2018. Not only that, his company won the Best Cybersecurity Startup of the Year 2019. He also got BW Business World Young Entrepreneur Award 2020. Hakimuddin Wadlawala, or in short, Hakim, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Saurabh. And yeah, I prefer it to be Hakim. How are you?
I'm great. And thanks for giving us some time to have this conversation. I'm very looking forward for some of the wisdom, your journey, and or any kind of advice you give to our listeners.
Absolutely, I'll try my best.
Okay, so Hakim, let's get started. What your company is all about?
So basically, we are a cybersecurity service-focused organization. We deliver services, and of course, it has a byproduct of selling the products to the company, to the customer across pan India at this point of time. And yeah, so if in a nutshell you talk about, we are in a startup and we are growing good in the space of cybersecurity.
That's great. So I saw your the overall growth in your career, and I saw that you started as a desktop engineer in Wipro back in 2008. And then you joined WNS and Microsoft. There are other organizations as well. And then you get into the startup mode. So was you already? I mean, you already had that dream of having a company of your own or getting a startup, or how this thing shaped up? Help us walk through that journey, please.
Yes, Saurabh. So first and foremost, I come from a background where everybody in the family is an entrepreneur, and I was the one who was or who used to always dreamt about being an entrepreneur. But I was waiting for the right opportunity, and 2018 was the right time where I could find myself in a place where I had to take a moment and say, this is the time that I take, a leap of faith and say I'll start the entrepreneurship journey. And that's how I started it. But yes, it comes from the family. I come from a family which is an entrepreneur family. And of course, the journey has been quite big. I've also shared precious moments working with you and the team at Microsoft itself, right? So it all started with being an desktop engineer at Wipro, of course, an outsource thing, and then growing up the ladder from there, and eventually landing up as an entrepreneur that I always wanted to be.
That's great. So, how I would say the Hakim has evolved, maybe personality-wise, wisdom-wise, when he stepped his for the first time in Wipro in 2008, and now he's having this conversation.
Okay, so first of all, there's no comparison out there, right? The first job that I stepped in as an IT guy, all was looking at is a job to fulfill my pocket money and to learn about the IT, right? Uh, and of course, I was an individual contributor without any fear of something, without any pressure of something, or without any kind of an stress. And of course, and I'm not trying to say that I have a lot of stress right now, or pressure, or the competition. But uh, I think the situation has made me evolve from what I was at Wipro to what I was in Microsoft and to what I am right now. So every change that I made in the career was not just only primarily from a monetary standpoint. I think that's the byproduct of the job that we do. But what made me understood is the culture, the people, uh, the way to interact, and to mature my personality out there. And today, when I am sitting right now and I'm talking to you, I have a responsibility of running this organization, which has 150 plus people and servicing big names in Indian, market. So it is a different sense of feeling and achievement, and at the same time, responsibility uh, to ensure that I'm able to not just fulfill the dream of being an entrepreneur, but to create more and more empowerment for the people here in India. That's the focus that I have. But if you ask me, how do I compare to what it was in Wipro as a desktop engineer to who I am today, I would rather be able to describe the entire transition in couple of hours. This discussion will not end for. I will not be able to put it across in this small thing, now in this small moment. But yes, I can say that I've evolved, and I've evolved in a way that I am now less focused on myself. I'm more focused on my people. I'm more focused on the objective that we are looking as an organization to outgrow and achieve, and of course to make a nation pride in what we're doing.
Wonderful. So, as you mentioned, that as you evolve across different organizations, professions, you obviously learn from them, and I'm sure that you must have a certain learnings in terms of how to be a risk taker, try something new, and at the same time, as you mentioned, that now you're running a company of 150 plus people. So there's a responsibility. There's a certain kind of stress. Stress can be not always a negative side, but it's a kind of a pressure which sometimes help you to grow and also inculcate those mindset and those energy to your employees as well. So that being said, how exactly this company gets started? I mean, in 2018, so you were waiting for some moment, or there's some incident which happened, or anything you would like to share? Like, what was that moment, or eureka moment, or okay, let's get started now?
Correct. So you actually put across three different questions, right? The
Yes.
first thing is, uh, no, it's not the stress. I think it's a push that I get, that there's so many people along with me, and I can do better, right? So when I started alone, and where I'm right now today with 4 years of experience in an entrepreneurship, and with the team, which is in the three digit, it gives me that immense confidence that we can do more, we can grow bigger, we can achieve something more, right? Uh, from a risk taking perspective, I have always been a risk taker, and I have believed that we should rather take the decision and make the decision right. I'm sure somebody has quoted out there for sure. And, you know, doing a lot of calculation and then taking a decision which eventually lets you lose that opportunity or that moment where you can take the decision and then make it right. So I'm a very core believer of having a appetite of risk taking and then eventually work towards it to make sure that the decision has gone right or you make it right. Uh, when it comes to about starting this entrepreneurship, everybody waits for a moment, right? And now that moment can be a sad moment, a happy moment, just any moment it could be, right? Now, how do you look at it is what it is all about. So in 2018, I lost my job. I lost my job because I was working with somebody uh, who got into some issues, and the company had to be called off overnight. And
Wow.
that's when I realized that this is not the problem. This is blessing in disguise, right? And why is it blessing in disguise? Let me tell you that. Uh, I have talked to so many people who always want to start something, but they don't. Is because they are worried about to lose that fixed salary that comes in their account every first of the month, right? Because they have so much of liabilities to pay, and then they can't take the risk. Of course, they are right in their own term. Uh, and even when the company that I was, which was called off overnight, I see still a lot of people that were struggling around to understand and go and find a job and so on and so forth. But I thought that this is an opportunity for me because the fear that I had that I will not have a fixed salary coming in is no longer there because I don't have a job. So that fear is not there. So it's like it's a green field for me. Let's go out because anyways I'm not getting a salary next month. So it's better to do something that I always wanted, right? And that was the day when I considered it to be a golden moment where I took a decision that now I should go for it.
Wow, that's great. Sometimes you have to make the surroundings, the conditions around you to make some things happen, and sometimes there is some incident which sparked that this is the time, and you rightly said. And I would also like to mention that in these situations there are two perspective or two mindset. Some people get depressed or try to take these things in the negative side of the house, and they will be like start searching new job and spending those hours, not realizing that this may be one of the golden moment which has been
Right,
bestowed maybe by the destiny, that this is the time we can
right,
start. And you very beautifully mentioned that you already lost the job, so this is the time. So the people who dread the fact of losing out the job because the risk taking capability and appetite is different according to the individual, and then you get started.
right.
So you started, so exactly, so in that way you moved, and then you recruited people. You did it with like a couple of your friends, folks around there to get the company started, or it took some time. Like how you shape up that process. You reached out to people around there.
Uh, so I still remember I,
Hmm.
the first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to get the name for the company. And I said, okay, this is the first thing that I'll do is I'll go myself and I'll start working for the customers, right? So I started reaching out to a lot of people, and good thing was I was connected with the industry, right? So I reached out people saying that this is what I've started doing, and I can be your uh, extended arm to help you out there. And then within 15 days of the company that I started, I got my first purchase order. Right? It's a big thing. Uh, Getting a break in the 15 days itself, it's an amazing feeling. And uh, that is when I realized that I can do this. But if I do this, what happens to the next order? Who's going to go there? right? And that's when I started calling up my colleagues from the previous organization, and I started asking them if they are looking out. And that's how the team started building, right? So
Okay.
we got an order, we got somebody, we got them placed, and then the ball kept on rolling, and then we never looked back.
That's great. So you said like within 15 days you got the first order. Now, how much important of having a good reputation in the industry? I mean, I'm sure that you got 15 within 15 days you got an order, which means that there is a certain level of reputation of Hakim in the IT industry. So, what kind of perspective you can provide to the people who are only looking at the reactive instances? Like, for example, if they would like to get a job, they can start working on at that particular moment, or if they would like to start something new, any endeavor, whether it's a startup or something, how their historic uh, ways of doing things or reaching out to the people, networking, mindset, all those things really hold them in a right direction and get them to the success in an expedited manner.
No, very good question, Saurabh. And uh, this is something not uh, typically related only from an entrepreneurship, right? But also from the sense of maturity that it brings in is you know I have seen personally that in an industry and in any industry, it's a very close network that is always will built across with a different set of people, mindsets, skill sets, and so on and so forth. Yes, because people knew me around, who I was, where do I come from, what I've done in the past. It was easy, if I had to put it in that way, to go out in the market and ask for some kind of work. Uh, but yes, if for that matter I would not have been that, uh, you know, connected with the people out there, or rather, my relation would not have been that great with the people around me from the industry perspective. It might have been, it might have taken some more time to get a breakthrough. But luckily, what has happened is that the opportunity that I got uh, was somebody that I was not so much connected with, right? So it was basically an opportunity that I was able to grab is because I came from a background which was actual need of a person to whom I was going to service. And there was a recommendation, or rather, that person had seen my background. I come from Microsoft and other organizations and doing this and all that other stuff. So it was also, I would say, somewhere or the other, that person was also very important to give that first, opportunity to me, right? Is because if that person would have not done that, I'm not sure, how would have it landed later. And it, of course, it plays a very bigger role being connected. In fact, I feel that it's not just uh, the relation that you maintain as a senior person or as a customer and all that as stuff. But I've also seen that my team that was working with me in my previous organization, they also came back and joined me, right? Uh, which I believe that, of course, I would have done something good in my past, while working with them, so that they're happy to come back and join me back where I'm starting up my own journey. And when we look at the transition, right, somebody leaving an organization that is 40,000 plus people and joining with me, which is just four people, in the initial days, that faith of people that people have put into me itself have uh, gave me a confidence again that whatever I was done in the past as a manager, as a leader, or whatever I was, I've done the right thing. And yes, a relation matters a lot, Saurabh, and not just as a customer relations and all that stuff, but also from the team that you manage or team that you're working with, it with your co-workers, with your colleagues, and so on and so forth.
Yes. And it's a big, I would say, a personal achievement as well. As you mentioned, that people left a big organization, a cushy job per se, and then trying to join a startup just because they know that the leader has a conviction, that leader has a vision, and maybe that leader has a mission which they resonate with, and they would like to be a part of that journey. So how you get all these? I mean, obviously, it's the leadership skills. It's a continuum and it's an evolution. So you reached out, you meet different leaders, and sometimes some people really inspire you a lot. So in the journey, when you were working as the individual contributor or working for other organization, you must have met different leaders who not only help you to coach or mentor, they also might have helped you to nurture to the next level, because you were the engineer, then you went to the management role, and now you are a CEO of the organization. So in the interim, when you were crafting your skills, how that leaders help you out, because that is also important. It's not about always helping people out, but building new leaders as well. So what's your journey around that?
So yes, I have learned. In fact, everything that I'm doing right now is something that I've learned from somebody, right? Uh, it could be the different way that I've put it across to the execution, but it has been learned by somebody, right? That what has to be done. And I have come across multiple people who have been my mentor, who has actually seen me, uh, you know, going to the desktops and fixing the antiviruses to, leading a team. And, out of all of them, this one person is very close to me. And I still look up to him for a lot of things. And I personally believe that his contribution as a mentor in my personal career has been impactful. Impactful in the sense that no, he never taught me to do business. He never taught me to how to speak to a customer. But what he taught me is how to work with your peers, uh, how to handle the situation where you are the one who is the final authority to take the decisions, no matter what it is, right? And that is a skill that, or that is an opportunity that I believe not everybody gets, to have a mentor who will actually put you into their shoe and ask you to take the decision, considering you are the person. If you don't take a call, something bizarre is going to happen. So it's you who's have to take the call. Is it yes or no? So I've been blessed. Again, what I believe is everybody come across some of the other mentor. It is just up to us. How do we look across that person? And we only look, take out the positive things that we're supposed to, and not get always on the both the sides in positive and negative. But that's what I've always done. And I believe uh, that I have been able to implement at least some bit of it, what he has taught me, into the way that I work with my colleagues, my customer, my peers. And somewhere or the other, I'm sure that we are doing it right.
Yeah. As you mentioned that people are not born CEOs, born leaders. Maybe there might be some exceptions, but they need a good guidance in terms of mentors or coach. And I
Absolutely.
always mention in my previous podcast also, I mentioned that there are a lot of successful people who still have like business coach, performance coach. They need that guidance. Nevertheless, I mean, they are successful. They are going through different rough patches. And important thing is, for example, a coach help us to think how to think. It's not like, oh, you have to do A, B, or C. Go figure out the answers by yourself. But okay, this is the way to think so that you can find your answers. And the people, when they find the answers by themselves, that is more profound and long lasting versus if someone else is telling them those answers.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that is something which you have learned. And now regarding the decisions, you mentioned that initially that we have to take decisions, and as a senior leader, as in a C-level executives, you have to take decisions. Sometimes those are popular, sometimes they are not. So in that case, what's your perspective of decision making? And if the decision is right, obviously everyone is happy. If it's goes down, it's not wrong. Maybe at that point you took decision, be decisive, but that didn't work out as planned. So how you recuperate with that? How you overcome those challenges?
So, first of all, let's not call them challenges. Let's call them a task. All right. This is how I actually look at it.
Mhm.
I forgot the question.
Okay, so the question is like how decision making, if it doesn't go as intended, impact a leader, and how they can quickly recuperate, or they can quickly make a different direction and try to correct that decision which they have taken in the past.
And and I have an example to share. I'm not saying I'm a good leader or I'm a fantastic person or leadership skills, but this is one of the examples that one of the instances that I can definitely share on this. So when the company that I founded, Protect Manager, when it was brought into existence, I had a dream of building up a product for doing a lot of things that was available in the market in the different product, and I want to do it of my own. So we started a small software development team, right? And at the same time, I also started going to the customers and servicing the customer and all that other aspect. We spent 6 months and 9 months, and I understood that whatever my concept or thought was, my team is not able to deliver it back, and there was a frequency change. There was wavelength was not matching because they come from a different background. I had a different mindset and all that stuff. What I did is I realized that what has happened is happened, right? It's the time to quickly change it and focus on something that I'm good at it, right? And that was the decision that I made. Okay, I started something which is not going in the right direction, and because this is not something that I'm good at it, right? So let's take that uh, decision right away and close off this thing. Is because it's not what I have to do. I have to go back and I have to do whatever is the customer is asking from me, because I was parallelly having business coming in from a cybersecurity standpoint, the services that we're giving, but nothing on the development end, and we realized that it's not something that I can go for it. And yeah, so it clearly indicated that my decision was wrong in the start. And 6 months down, 9 months down the line, then I realized, no, this is not right. I have to change it. And we change it. So uh, it's a learning. Uh, it's a way how we look at it, right? I know everybody says the same thing that failure is not a failure, failure is a learning, and I'm saying it's a fact that failure is not a failure. I think it's just a correction of your journey that you spend as a co-worker, as a colleague, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, or whatever it is, right? Because everything that you do has an outcome, right? Everything you do, it will have an impact. That impact can be positive, that can be negative, that outcome can be positive, that can be negative. But what matters is, will you continue to give the same result every time? That's exactly when it is not the right way to look at it, right? And if you see that every time you're doing the same thing, and then there is a problem, then it's a different discussion altogether, right? So
Yeah.
for me, if there is something that is not go right, something is not going right, change it, and That's not a failure. That's a learning. And I've seen it myself. Trust me. I see it every day. And I've
Yeah.
just given you one of the example, but I'm sure when I open up my books, I will see a lot of them. So it's a fact.
Yeah. And I think, as you mentioned, that being decisive is very important. And then as you go along the path, you can definitely change those decisions if those decisions are not yielding the results which you were expecting. At the On the other side, if you don't take decisions, you're always in that hung state because you are waiting for that perfect time or perfect situation, which is obviously most of the time is just a mirage. So you will not get to that perfect state. There is no perfect state. There's always a better things to happen from the past. And as you mentioned, that a failure, right? Failure is an event, but people most of the time forget that there is a process before that failure, and that process helps people to learn a lot.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so they know what things do not work, and then they'll try to do the other things. And there are thousands of stories of leadership. If you see, there are so many books out there which mentions how they fail. And then one of
Absolutely.
the book I read is by Phil Knight, the shoe dog, the founder of Nike. It's an amazing book. He hustled throughout his life, and he failed so many times that sometimes people say that if he is a successful man right now, then anyone can, because he didn't give up. So
Perseverance.
perseverance, yes, and focused approach. What's your advice to the people who have great ideas, however, lack a conviction, lack the execution side that they would like to get started? So, what's your advice, like how they can get started if they have an idea and they want to found a company or any endeavor they would like to pursue in their life?
I have two things that I've seen or I've also come across is first is nobody's come to your doorstep and tell you that boss, you have a good idea. Let me do something for you. Nobody's going to do that. Right? If you have a good idea, get up from your, you know, bed or seat or wherever you are. Try and go and do whatever your ideas are and put them on the execution because nobody, trust me, nobody will come and tell you, sir, please sit, I will do it for you. You just give me the idea. No, that's not how it
Yeah.
happens. Right? And second thing is, uh, not everything gets converted into a gold in a week time or a month or a year. It takes time, right? So do not lose and hope if it doesn't get materialized into certain period of time frame that you have decided by yourself. Because what happens is in the back of our mind, the moment we decide a time frame, and at the same time, if we also define the backup plan, if something doesn't happen in that time frame, that backup plan tells you that you are not ready for this. So never make a backup plan. Your time frame is the final time frame. If you come back and you say, boss, मैं 100 दिन I will work on this, and after 100 days, if it doesn't happen, I will go back to daddy's shop and I will sit at daddy's shop. So you better go and sit at your daddy's shop right now because after 100 days, you have anyways kept your mindset you're going and sitting at your daddy's shop. I'm not saying it is not good or bad. What I'm trying to say is don't keep any backup. When you have a goal to achieve, that this is my goal, that's your goal. Come on, dude, you can't have a backup plan because you yourself somewhere or the other at one portion or one corner of your mind you have written it down that there is a doubt, and that is the reason you have brought up a backup plan. So my this two suggestions, you know, and this is true, this is what I've seen personally.
Great. So the two suggestions, just to summarize, is set up your goal, start working towards it, and please do not make any backup plans, because once you have a backup plan, that will be, or most of the time, that eventually becomes your plan. So is that correct?
That's absolutely right. Because you have the backup plan. And I'm sure, I'm telling you, whenever somebody has a backup plan, it is the most comfort zone plan. So, yeah, that's two suggestions that I would have.
That's great, actually. So the last question to conclude our conversation with you, Hakim, which I ask everyone towards the end, and it has two parts. The first is how people can reach out to you. And the second thing is, if people would like to reach out to you for mentorship, for coaching, or any kind of advice, what kind of preparation they should be doing instead of just asking that I don't know anything and can you be my mentor?
Right. So, uh, as you said, if somebody has an idea, uh, they are looking for suggestions to how to, execute and conceptualize it. Uh, I am more than happy to, work with the great minds, irrespective of it is a product, it's an idea, it's a concept, or whatever it is. Uh, but yes, please come with your homework when somebody asks you that why is your idea required, or why do you think that your idea is supposed to be there. Uh, One of the concept that I would always put across to everybody, or to all startup is, I don't know why there is a race for everything that says that you can only be in startup when you have something different. I don't know why that's there. Why there are no e-commerce websites? They all are doing same thing. Are they not big enough? Giving out? Are they not the enterprise? Everybody can be an entrepreneur, right? It's not that you just have to have a different idea. It is just that you should have a guts to say that I can do this business. Can you help me to get along and work on this business? That's what I look at. If somebody wants to come and work with me and I have take my advice. So don't come only with saying that I have a very different idea and that is the reason I can be a startup. No, you can be a startup with the same old ideas but the different concept, right? And
Yeah,
of course, I can be reached out by my email address, that is hakim@protectmaneyes.com. And I would suggest after end of this video, if or interview, Saurabh, if you can put it up for 2-3 seconds on the
sure.
screen.
Yes. So I'll definitely, in the show notes, we can mention about your email address and maybe your LinkedIn profile as well, so people can reach out. And Hakim has mentioned that please do your homework. If you have an idea, it's more than welcome, but please do your research if that idea is something, what kind of value it brings, and have a strong why, because Hakim can help you to drive through the how part. But what about why? So if you have a conviction, if you know why you're pursuing that thing, that would be definitely helpful for you as a mentee and as to the mentors as well, to have a win-win situation. That being said, Hakim, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for your time and all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you, Saurabh. It was nice talking to you and glad to connect with you after so many years. Thank you so much.
Yes,
You have a
likewise.
good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, sir. Bye.